Hello, one and all, and welcome to the podcast we call the Fantastival with myself, Steve Nussbaum. In the podcast, where I invite my guests to come on, talk to me all about their musical tastes, their memories, their experiences, and they get to collect their fancy festivals, which I have christened Fantastivals. We are now on number 145. It's quite unbelievable where this podcast continues to tread and where it continues to go. I must say to everyone, happy November. We're almost at the back end now of 2023. Hope everyone is well as they're listening to this. I've got a few shout outs before we get cracking. It was lovely to see Paul Hammond recently as he reached 600 days of sobriety. So Paul, a very close friend, a guest on this very podcast, which has had a big influence on his life. So well done, Paul, on your sobriety, and a massive congratulations to you. And I just want to say there's been a lot of lovely words about the podcast in the last fortnight from a tweet that started with the Shits and Giggles girls, which I always appreciate. So if you did tweet, and if you do tweet every week, it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you so much for that. It always means a hell of a lot when people commenting on the podcast and showing their love for it. That means a whole lot to me. So thank you to that one. And also a massive thank you to John, Brandon and Ted from The Height. They were my last guests on the chaotic episode, 144th episode. A great young band. Go and check them out if you haven't done so already. And if you've not listened to their podcast, it's 35 minutes of greatness, if I do say so myself, with probably the most eclectic fancy festival lineup to date on the podcast. So that was 144. We are now on 145. And this week, I'm delighted to be joined by this gentleman. He writes for Band Hub. He's the host of his own show on Jack's Radio. He's an awesome human being, one of the biggest drivers of the Fantastival Podcast. It's Scott Egnor. Scott, welcome to the Fantastival Podcast.
Good evening, mate. Yeah, you can keep all the adulation going if you want. You don't have to stop there. I'll just lay back up 45 minutes of this. Thanks for having me on, mate.
Mate, pleasure to have you on. I'm glad we finally got it sorted in the calendar. So, as you probably know, we're going to talk all about your musical taste, your memories, and do your fantasy festival lineup that I'm looking very forward to you telling us all about. Yeah. But before we do, I always like to check in with my guests from a mental health perspective. Really, really important to do so. So, Scott, mate, how are you?
I'd say as it stands at the moment, I'm in a pretty good place at the moment. It's been I won't touch on that. I might touch on that a little bit after. But yeah, it's been a bit of a rocky road the last 18 months for me and the wife, illness and etc. Yeah, but as it stands at the moment, I'm doing good. Doing good. How are you?
All good, all good. Likewise, I think everyone is kind of struggles as the nights get a bit darker. Everyone has their own challenges. But as we record this, work is hectic as ever. But everything else is going well, and so is work, to be fair. So no complaints from me, Scott. So I always like to get my guests, if they're not kind of that established, I guess, in the musical world, which probably not, to tell us a bit about themselves, about their interests, a bit more, to learn a bit more about the person. So Scott, mate, tell us a bit more about yourself. Who is the legend that is Scott Egnor?
Well, this whole thing, right, this is the part, right, that I've been dreading. I mean, unless you're like some big into a Hollywood star, right? Nobody likes talking about themselves. So, like when you go for a job interview, and like, so, Mr. Bloody Blah, tell us about yourself. Be like, your fucking CV's right in front of you. It's all you need to know is there. So it's, but obviously, well, Scott, what everybody knows me as Chippy. That's me, the old tag name on the old Twitter. I can't call it X. It's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
Twitter to X. I mean, you can't trust a guy. He's just named his son name after it. It's like some math algorithm, isn't it? Have you seen it? It's something like X, Y, A, V plus dot. Honestly, I'm not kidding you. It is. It's like some weird math equation. But yeah, anyway, so that's enough for me. He's a bit of a knob, really, isn't he? But yeah, I'm, like I say, everybody knows me as Chippy. Live in Blackpool. Married to the lovely wife, Kay, with a dog, little cockapoo called Dave. He's a nutter, but he's ace. I say, obviously, I love my music. Big sports fan, football like yourself. Although, I think we're about on a level par at the moment, teams-wise, aren't we? Not there's that much between the Orient and the Bill at the moment.
I'm presuming you're a Blackpool fan.
Yes. Sorry, I was waffling away. I'm like, you should know already. Your CV's there. Yeah. Big Blackpool fan, mate, for my sins, which there are very, very many.
You touched upon Twitter. Where did the name Chippytea come from? What's that about?
Chippytea. That's it's from a band. They're like a local folk comedy band. I say local, they're a Lancashire band. They're called the Lancashire Hotbox. Yeah, you're looking at me like, who? Yeah, honestly, check them out. Like, so Chippytea is a big hit. They used to play it every Friday afternoon on, I think it was a Radio Lancashire. They would play this song every Friday afternoon. Because it's like, in Lancashire, it's the law on the Friday, you're going to have a Chippytea. So that was their big song. To my wife's total dismay, because she hates them. But I think secretly she likes them a little bit. I love them. They take loads of like popular pop songs, if you will, but they put their own what's the word I'm looking for? Just like their own spin on it. They put their own words and they turn it into some really jokey folk song. Honestly, they're one of the best nights out, right, you'll have. If you haven't seen them, mate, go check them out. They're ever down your neck of the woods. They are fabulous. So anyway, yeah, that's Chippytea.
Sounds like a plan. And I guess Twitter has been quite a good source for you. You're quite vocal on Twitter with music recommendations. You seem like quite a big voice in the Twitter community.
Yeah, this new music scene is just, for anybody that says like there's no new music out there, new music is dead, and I hear that quite a lot, and it's just like, what are you talking about? Like it's like at our local venue that myself and my wife we used to go quite a lot. Well, literally every other weekend. We can go and watch like 3 bands for a tenner. It's ridiculous. You get all these big artists. Yeah, okay, I still go and watch some of the more established artists, if you will. But yeah, definitely my passion at the moment is the new music scene. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. There's so much good stuff out there, and there's so many bands that aren't unsigned yet. And you see, it just baffles my head. It really does. How you have some of these bands, you see them, and I know times are hard and etc. And like the money's tight for people. But if you can, right, go and support your local venue. It's cheap as chips. A couple of pints, right? You can go and watch 3 bands and have a cracking night. We went and watched Apollo Junction at the weekend, supported by the Beavers and Kiwi. I think it was like £12. I think we paid. Might have been 15. Push. I can't remember. The wife bought the tickets. But Apollo Junction, I'd have paid that money on the road because they're a phenomenal live band. But then you throw in 2 great support acts. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I must say a massive congratulations to Apollo Junction in reaching their aim of getting to the top of the 75 album. I think it came in at 68.
68
in the charts, unbelievable.
It's amazing. For an unsigned band, they say like they do everything out their own shed. Yes, they've got like a decent team behind them. But the work that they put in these last few weeks, pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. I know that's what you've got to do. But you see a lot of. I see a few artists on there. The whinges and the moaning about, like ticket sales but you've got to put the work in. From my perspective, if you're not putting the work in, you can't expect people to buy, the hard-earned money, 20, 25 quid for an album, right? If you've only posted about it once, like 6 months ago. Put the work in, right, and they'll be rewarded. As Apollo Junction have just proven.
So it's pretty evident from talking to you how much music means to you. So I guess let's go back to your early days in Scott. Tell us about what do you remember?
Just re-jogging the old memory now.
What do you remember about your early music memories?
To be honest, growing up as a young whippersnapper, there wasn't really that much music around me. I know my mum, bless her. God, she had the shit taste in music. Well, I thought so then as a young kid. And she was playing like Leo Sayer, Dr. Hook, Hot Chocolate. Oh, don't get me started on Hot Chocolate. Anybody that mentions Errol Brown to me, right, I'll kill him. The amount of times I've had to listen to Errol Brown as a kid. Oh, mate. But, when you mentioned it to my mum, we laugh and joke about it with my mum now. Because as soon as you mention like Hot Chocolate to her, right, she'll always go to, I remember when I was at a concert, there was something like about 10,000 people there or something. And she says, he started singing, what was his song? Oh, it started with a kiss. And she said, just as he was singing it, looked to me and winked. Like, yeah, all right, Mum. Yeah, I'll give you, I'll let her have a little moment with that. But there wasn't that much music. My stepdad came aboard. He was a bit of a knobhead. We had a half decent taste in music. Again, right, as a young kid, I just wanted to be out on the field playing football with my mates and climbing trees and just being a little tearaway on the council estate where I was from. But yeah, he was obsessed with Dire Straits, and he played the album. Is it the Money for Nothing album? Was it called?
Brothers in Arms, I think that one was.
Brothers in Arms. Yeah. This is why I say I wrote half this stuff down, right? Because they're like, right, who the fucking hell was that again? I'm like, yeah. So that's why, yeah, Brothers in Arms. Yeah. So he played that quite a lot. But it wasn't really until I went to high school. There was a young kid moved down the street from us. He'd only been on the estate for a couple of months. Didn't really have many friends. But he joined my class in school and became really, really good friends with him. I hang out quite a lot. Go back to his house after school in a week, and he had a brother. He's about 5 years older than him. And one night he was playing this. I can't remember if it was a cassette or a vinyl. I can't remember. It probably more likely a cassette. And I was like, "Oh, what's that in the background?" He was like, "Oh, I don't know. Go and ask him." So he went and asked him about it. They're like normal, like older brothers but young brothers. Get out of my fucking room. He's like, "I'm even just to know what you're listening to." So he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Tell him it's Madness, One Step Beyond." And I was like, whoa, so that was like my first real, something. Yeah, like I say, because I've never had any interest in music before, and all of a sudden I've heard this like big booming. I was like jazz at the beginning, going one step beyond, give it all out. I'm like, whoa, what is this? And it just, my head just went exploded, and I was like, yeah. So that was the main start, and ska, two-tone, right, was literally all I listened to for about 5 years. I wouldn't listen to anything else. Much to the annoyance of my brothers, especially particularly my younger brother, big Prince fan. He played Purple Rain all the time. It was got because I've got two younger brothers, so my two younger brothers were in one bedroom. I was in the other one. Now Simon, that's to be younger, he'd be playing whacking out Prince, Purple Rain. I'm like, yeah, you can fuck off. Your dad wasn't one step beyond. It's like, all those you hear was my mum going, "Mommy, what are we doing? That bloody!" It was like a massive rave going on upstairs in the house. But yeah, great days.
And I guess Madness is from Madness, right? You can go into a world of total back end of records, right? That you would never have found without Madness.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry, what was that? I was back in the day then in my bedroom backing out One Step Beyond whilst my brother was banging on the wall.
I was saying Madness must lead you to a whole different world of music as well.
Oh yeah, there was again at the time, because the young lad who I made friends with. His dad owned a record shop, like with all the old vinyls, and he was really, really into his reggae, like all the old like Jamaican ska, like a Jimmy Cliff, Desmond Decker, all that. So at the time he was like saying, "Oh, you're mad for me like these." I'm like, "No, mate, I want to jump around to baggy trousers. I don't want all this." It was a little. I was a young kid. I was like, I was at school. I was doing like the old baggy trousers routine and pissing the head teachers off and everything. But yeah, so. And then, obviously, the specials were a huge part of my teenage life, which I'll touch more a lot. I shouldn't really mention it, because that's one of my bloody thingies after. But I wrote that down. Do not mention them. And I've done that. So that's what. So you know one of them already. So that's bloody. And then obviously like the Beat, Body Snatchers, the Selector. Yeah, I was into all of it. Into all of it, much to the very annoyance to my mother. Because I went for I don't know about yourself, but as a young kid, we used to go to the hairdressers around the corner from where we lived. And my mum would always give us a note. I'd give it to a hairdresser, so it'd be like a number 2 back and sides, or like short back in wherever it used to be. So I went with my mate, and we were just. Right, I won't mention that other bit, but anyway, we're doing something that weekend. It's going to sound a day to get a skinhead with tram lines. Like, my mum will fucking kill me if I get one of them. Like, go on, we're going to this such and such thing this weekend. So, go on, so I'm having it done. So, my mum's going to kill me. So, we'll both get bollocked together. Yes, so, yeah, we did. And obviously, right, you can see me on the screen. I've not got the smallest of ears. I look like the bloody FA Cup when I come out. I mean, mum went up the wall. She was absolutely mental. I got bloody, what's the word when you get they don't let you out for a month.
Oh, grounded.
Grounded. That's that grounded. Yeah, I got grounded for a month. Well, it didn't work though, because I snuck out the weekend without knowing. But obviously, she found that out a little bit later on when she went to bring up my hot chocolate for tea.
And in terms of, I guess, your musical tastes over the years, how's it evolved in? I guess you've spoken about kind of finding Madness and ska. How's it evolved?
Yeah, massively evolved. So you can go like from, I was big on the ska scene. There was a particular band which I wrote this one there. Do not mention them because they're my biggies. So I'm not mentioning them. But yeah, there was another particular band that I was listening to was Scar and Two Tone. That was my bag, if you want to call it. Yeah. So then this other band came across, and it just opened up this whole new world. I was like, wow, there's more music out there. What's going on? I thought we were just all Scar and Two Tone. Yeah, we listened to the charts a little bit as kids. They'd have your little tape recorder by the radio. You know, your cassettes ready, like to press record and stop until you did catch the DJ playing. But yeah, I didn't really listen to it. A lot of my other friends, they were all, big into the, like the new wave, like Duran Duran, Spandau Ballet, Depeche Mode, all that. Well, I don't mind Depeche Mode, actually, to be fair. But yeah, I wasn't big into them. Yeah, but so from Scar, I went on to this other band, which I'm not going to mention yet. And strange, I went like straight into like the house music scene. It was a massive jump straight into like that. I found this through going to football as a young kid. Used to knock around with these gentlemen of a certain reputation, let's say. We didn't know at the time. We were young lads. We were going, right, well, we can get to the pub with these lads. So we used to go to the pub with them. And then as time progressed, we kind of found out what they were about a little bit. We were like, yeah, we'll be fine. We can go for a pint and leave, let them go and have the fight somewhere. And they introduced us to the club scene. So obviously like the house, particularly Chicago house, which was just starting, just getting going like in the early 80s in the UK. And I discovered an artist called Frankie Knuckles. He was like one of the major pioneers of Chicago house. And again, as soon as I heard that, my friend had it on he's called them white label vinyls, and that was all like the big house records at the time. A lot of them were white label, and I heard that, and I was just like, again, my mind was just blown away. So yes, got into that scene. Obviously, then the house scene went into the rave scene. I spent a few years that were, let's just say, they were very, very hazy. But everybody knows what ravers were doing in those days. I mean, I tell you what, if I had the chance, I'd do it all again. People say, well, would you do it again though? Would you risk doing all that and taking the drugs? And I'm like, yeah, bloody hell I would, because I enjoyed it. It made like a whole new circle of that the rave scene that took me in another direction of music. Because obviously, but like what's the word? Like the Manchester indie scene.
Yeah.
Which I had a couple of guys from New Order. They went on to co-own Hacienda, which again spawned another huge, as well as the indie scene. It was like the indie rave dance scene, like the Prodigy, 808 State, a guy called Gerald. So it was just another massive avenue opened up to me, and it was just loved life for a while. Even though it got a bit naughty towards the end. I mean, my daughter was born in '93, and I was working all week, go out to a rave on a Friday night, go home, maybe have an hour's kip if we were lucky, go to the pub for 11 o'clock to Bucky's, go to the match, club on a Saturday night, play football on a Sunday morning, Sunday league, and that was it. That was my weekends. And I was doing that for about 4 or 5 years. I mean, I'm still alive, it's unreal. I must be the way I'm talking. I don't think I've stopped talking about 10. I'm not anything now, honestly. This was I we got. But yeah, mad, happy days.
And then,
but yeah, like I say, yeah, my daughter was born in '93, and I was like, yeah, I've got to calm this shit down now. It was it's probably the best thing that ever happened to her. Actually, when my daughter was born, because I was getting probably that last year. I'm not ashamed to say this. I got addicted to certain pills on the rave scene. Well, not so much addicted, but obviously I was doing like pills all weekend, like raving. Going back to work on the Monday morning, I needed something to give me a little bit of a G up. So I'd have a little bit of speed. And that speed, I'd have to have a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I'm like, yeah, this is not good. I say then, Mrs. at the time, the ex, she was like, yeah, I'm pregnant. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm going to start growing up now. But say again, I say, oh, well, it was probably at the time like one of the best things, because who knows where it could have led to, So, yeah. That was me. I was a bit of a knobhead.
Well, I'm glad to say you're not a knobhead anymore. You're here on the podcast giving a great kind of summary of your musical youth and kind of where you're at. So, as well as being on Twitter, you're quite into new music and writing and having your own show. So I guess let's start with the writing then. So you do write or have written for Band Hub, right?
Yeah. Ash is the guy that runs the site. Absolutely, he's absolute diamond fella. He's probably one of the first people that I kind of interacted with on Twitter, music-wise. We speak quite a bit, and excuse me, if I remember rightly, I think he tried to do something similar quite early on, but for whatever reason, it didn't take off. He went on to do, I think he tried to do some like gaming, programming or something. He's a bit of a computer whiz. I mean, I'm tech savvy, mate. I just about to turn the telly on. Terrible. I'm awful with anything tech-wise. So yeah, I mean, he tried it again, and it's been an absolute roaring success. And he just messaged me out of the blue, and he says, how do you fancy coming writing for us? I'm like, right, so I've not done any writing since I was at bloody school. I've not had to do anything. He was like, well, it's up to you, have a think about it. So I was like, okay, well, like what kind of things you want to do? So, you do like the odd review, or you can interview bands and whatever. And I thought, yeah, why not? Give it a go. I mean, nothing to lose. So, but yeah, I gave it a go, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's tailed off a little bit recently. So it's like mentally, it's something that I feel if you're not in the right headspace, you can't do it justice. Yeah. And I don't want to put crap out in. Obviously, it's bands or artists, they've spent the time, entrusting me like with a piece of their work or an interview, and if they read it and go, "What's this shit?" I don't want to do that. I have to feel like I'm in a good place, like to do it proper justice.
Yeah, I get that. Same with the podcast. You've got to be in the right space to try and do a podcast. Otherwise, I think you'll get seen through by your guests. So as well as the writing, you have also
just to go back onto just to interrupt you on the the band sub thing. I say Ash is the guy who runs the site, as well as Ash. I've got to give a massive shout out to Two Daffs on Twitter. He's joined a couple of months ago doing reviews, and if there's any bands or artists out there that are listening to this, they want review doing, right? Give Daffs a shout, because his reviews, mate, are they're unreal. They're absolutely brilliant, really, really good. So yeah, give Daffs a shout on Twitter.
What's his Twitter handle, Scott? What's his?
Two Daffs. So it's TWODAFS. Two Daffs.
Great shout. Great Twitter handle as well, to be fair.
Two Daffs, yeah.
So this isn't your first dalliance into an audio recording, I'm led to believe, because you do some work with Jack's Radio. Yeah,
but it's been a short-lived international DJ career. Again, it was another thing that came out the blue. A guy called Brimo on Twitter. I think he co-owned it, or he co-founded it. He just messaged me out of the blue one day. Said, yes, I've been. To be honest, I think he was stalking me for a little bit. But he's too afraid to admit it. I think he fancies me. Sorry, Brimo, if you're listening to this. Yeah, again, he messaged me. So yes, he's like, I've seen some of your reviews that you were doing. You're constantly promoting the new music scene. They wanted to have a show from the new music scene. I asked, said, did I fancy doing it? And again, I was like, well, I won't know even where to start, because like I say, I'm not very tech savvy. So I said, yeah, so let me have a think about it. It's quite weird how it happened, because my next door neighbour, Mark, he mentioned a couple of weeks beforehand if I fancy doing like a podcast with him about music. It was like, yeah, again, we can do it well. And then it was like a little light bulb thing that clicked in my head, and I went, hang on a minute. So this is that podcast. So I've been asked to do like this indie show for Jack's Radio. I said, do you fancy like joining? He's got all like the equipment to do. He's got like his computer set up and his laptops and got microphones, because he's in like a couple of bands. So he's got all like the recording. And he was like, yeah, I'm up for that. So yeah, that's how that started. And I think we did 10 shows. Really enjoyed it. I was absolutely loving it. But I could see from Mark, and I said, because he's in 2 bands, he works full time. And he's also just started writing for, Bands Hub. So like it was getting like harder the last couple of weeks, like to get stuff from him and to do things. But he's the kind of guy, he just doesn't like to let people down. And he's like, I said, well, why don't you just tell me? He said, just be honest. He said, I don't mind. I was pissed off because I bloody enjoyed doing it. But I could understand where he was coming from. So yeah, so at the moment, I was like the BBC come knocking on my door. My brief radio stint as a host is over for a little while. But yeah, there has been a couple of things mentioned here and there. So yeah, we'll see. I'd love to get back on doing it. So if there's anybody desperate out there who wants, like an hour to fill in, somebody talking shit for an hour, play some music. Yeah, give me a shout. Don't know how to do it yet. So that's the other thing. I bought myself a bloody brand new laptop, right, to do the show, to carry on my own. I thought, right, yeah, I'll figure out how to do it. Mark, I say, he gave me a couple of hinters out of it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But the next thing, we get a message we got like this group chat on Messenger, not Facebook, but for Jack's Radio. Next thing we got, literally the day after I bought this laptop, we got a message saying, yeah, that looks like by the end of the month, like, we're going to be shutting down. I'm like, you fucking shitting me? So I've just spent 500 quid on a bloody laptop that I can't afford. So yeah, I've got a brand new laptop sat in my cupboard, doing nothing at the moment.
Well, never say never, Scott. You never know what's around the corner. You never know what's around the corner.
What will be, mate.
Absolutely. You've mentioned Apollo Junction, and you've already mentioned your love of new music. Let me ask you at the moment, what are you listening to at the moment, Scott? What's going on? What's catching your eye? So for me, I've got not necessarily new music, but Blink-182 new album is making me smile, and I'm enjoying that very much. And I also went to see Glenn Hughes last week from Deep Purple, so I found myself listening to very early 70s Deep Purple, and they had a support band from Canada called The Damn Truth, which is a female-fronted bluesy rock band who are fantastic. So I'm enjoying that. Scott, what are you enjoying at the moment?
Well, you just mentioned that, but sorry, I can't remember the name of the band that you just mentioned, the blues rock. Since, obviously, the Heavy North have introduced me to that, again, this new genre of music that I've never really listened to before. I've listened to a bit of bluesy in the past. So yeah, I discovered a band called, so I've had to write this down because I knew I'd forget who they're called. They're called Ghost Hound, and they're a blues rock band from Pittsburgh, I think they're from. But yeah, again, very, very bluesy, very rocky. Not as in Rockies and the Boxer, but if you like your blues rock and you like the Heavy North, go and check them out. And then what else? Oh, there's so much stuff at the moment that I'm listening. I say Apollo Junction, their new album, I'm absolutely obsessed with. I think it's one of those albums. And in fact, the whole music of Apollo Junction is like, you just can't help but smile. It's just happy vibes music. They could be singing about like running your cat over, and everybody like going, yay, dancing away. Because there's a kind of atmosphere that they bring. They're all on stage, they're all happy and smiling, and the way that they interact, like with the crowd, like when Jamie comes out, and they're brilliant. But yeah, I'm digressing a little bit now, aren't I? So yeah, as well as like the blues rock, I love like the I think they call it bluesgrass or sawgrass music or something. So that's another thing that I did right. Obliated bluegrass. Yeah, it's like ever seen Deliverance?
Yeah, and obviously Brother, Where Art Thou as well.
Yeah, I hadn't watched it for years. I can't remember. It must have been. I'm going to say I think off the top of my head 10 years ago, and I was watching it, and it was the dueling banjo scene. You know, they got the guy on the guitar, and there's the kid on the porch getting it like, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then the day after, there was a program on about, it was like they called him like the greatest, I can't remember the guy's name, but they called him like the greatest banjo player ever. It was something like 95, this old dude, some old American guy. The guy could barely walk. You know, he was proper old. Stick a banjo in his hand. Yeah. Mate, and I've never seen anything like it. It was like he was 21 again. Just the speed it was. And there was other guys in the room like trying to keep up with him. And yeah, as well as like the best, apparently he was also like the fastest banjo player in the world. So yeah, so I started looking into that. Well, that I want to call it banjo music, but it's not. It's like bluegrass, hillbilly, and that's not being disrespectful to them because that's what some of them call their music.
Absolutely.
And it kind of like took me to a place like when I was a young kid. I remember like being at my nan and my granddad's. Excuse me. And they used to put on like the old westerns. And there'd be some old dude sat on the porch just playing like that with his banjo, with his little guitar. And it just took me to a really, really happy place. You know, just simple times. But yeah, I love all that stuff. There's a band called Steven Seagal, which I think is brilliant. As soon as I saw that name, I'm like, I've got to check these out. And they're just bonkers. I love all that. What else am I listening to? Yes, probably my album of the year at the moment is Brown Bear, Demons. Again, it's just a 10 out of 10 album. Fabulous. Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on what mood I'm in, really. I mean, when I eventually sit down and I do some music, I just like to have some nice little bit of chilled music in the background. So I might have a bit of a sort of like Massive Attack, just something that's got a little bit of a soul to it, but it's nice and calm and gentle. But then if I fancy a bit of a system of a Down or something on, I'm not. Yeah, I'd say I'm not massively into that particular genre of music, but there was something about when I first saw them. I was like, wow, what is this? That's kind of like my kind of crazy music. I love all that.
Yeah, it's definitely music to get crazy to, System of a Down. So,
yeah.
Scott, let me take you back then. You've obviously spoken about the impact of that Madness song, hearing that for the first time, and other bits and pieces. But do you remember the first record or single you bought and where you bought those?
I absolutely do. And I'm not going to be ashamed to say this one. Bearing in mind, I must have been like 4 or 5 years old. I remember being with my nan and my granddad. It was it a car boot sale? It was like like one of these church wholesales. They took me in there and they gave me 20p to spend. I was like, whoa, 20p. I was 4 years old. I got like this. Yeah, I was buzzing. I remember going to this little store. It was like a little toy store. Right, and right next to it, there was like just a box full of records. And my granddad's going, "What are you going here? What are you going there for? You're not even going to play this. So you don't even know what music is." I'm like, "I'm looking through it. I don't really care." And I came across this album, and it was Pinky and Perky's greatest hits, and I bought it for 15 pence. And she gave me like a free, I can't remember, it's another free little toy I got with it. I was absolutely buzzing with it because I was obsessed with Pinky and Perky as a kid. And the strange thing is, I think it was for my 40th birthday, I think it was. My brothers, they found, because I lost that copy when I was there. I probably smashed it when I was pissed up or something somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, my brothers found that very same album. They got it for my birthday. I've still got it somewhere. I don't know where it is. I've never played it. But yeah, I've still got it somewhere. So that was my first official one that I ever bought. It was Pinky and Perky's greatest hits. And they had stuff on like Cliff Richard, where it was Summer Holiday, and it was like When I'm 69, and it was full of shit. It was awful bloody music when you think of like two squeaking pigs singing it. That's what it was. So yeah, that was my first official bought record.
Like I say on the podcast, there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. We just have pleasure, so nothing to worry about with that one. So, Scott, this podcast is all about you collating your fantasy festival. Are you a big fan of the festival? Have you been to many festivals?
Again, when I was a younger gentleman, I must admit I was a big fan of festival. I love the whole, the whole ethos of it. Getting in a tent. I mean, I love camping. The wife, absolutely, she hates it. She's only ever been once, and she'll never do it again. But yeah, I loved him growing up. Not so much now. I don't think I do him so much. I'm getting a bit older for him. I think all these young kids running around. I always said, like, when I was a young kid, I used to listen to my granddad when we were going out, and my granddad would be like, "Look at bloody state of them with jeans up their arse and all this blah." And like, I ever sound like with my granddad when I go out. So that's time to call it a day. And I found myself at the last festival I was at. I'm like, to the wife, I said, "Them fucking kids, that was my daughter." Like, yes, like that. I'll be whipping them all. I'm like, yeah, maybe festivals aren't for me anymore. But yeah, I mean, I've done that Kendall Calling, quite a few times. To be honest, a lot of them were like dance festivals. We sort of done Creamfields multiple times. In fact, last time went to a festival, actually, it was on our 10th wedding anniversary. Thought it'd be a great idea, but it was something different. So it was me and the wife went, my two brothers and their wives, and there was a couple of other couples came with us, pissed it down all weekend. Kay hated it. I loved it. Like I say, I love the whole ethos. Stuck in a tent, wear the same undies and for 4 days, no deodorant, no washing, just drink and enjoy the music. That's me. I love it. She's like, no, hate it. But what I will say, and she'll hate me for saying this, and she'll deny everything that I'm just about to tell you. So this is all on record now, wife, if you're listening. When we went to Kendall Calling on the Sunday, as I was pissing it down, and one of the mainstays, they call the royalty of Kendall Calling is the Lancashire Hot Pots. They're one of the first artists that they book every year. So I'm telling you, anybody goes Kendall Calling, right, you've got a shitty, stinking hangover, get down on the Sunday towards the Lancashire Hot Pots, and they'll have a massive party. That will soon sort your hangover out. So yeah, so this Sunday morning, he's pissing down. I was like, right, Hot Pots, 1 o'clock, let's have it. She's like, I'm not going to pissing it down. I was like, come on, there's only a little bit of rain. Just a little bit of rain. When we got there, fucking heavens opened. It absolutely battered down. I saw her out the corner of my eye, mate. She was having a little boogie away. She's like, yeah, we're just doing it just to keep warm. I'm like, yeah, piss off. You love it. She'll do nice. Yeah, it's a rubbish. She loves it.
Great stuff.
That's about. Yeah, I think I'm done with. So I do like like the old little like all day we did like the indie all day at Hull just after lockdown, which was a fabulous day. I don't know anybody there, but the bands there were they were really brilliant. So yeah, I think that'll probably be my living now, doing like an all dayer. As long as I don't drink a lot, I'll be all right.
Well, you get to collate your all dayer very shortly. So before we do that, I'm going to ask you, and again, no spoilers if possible, but do you have a favourite gig? Is there one gig that stands out for you, or is that just too hard to pick?
Yeah, see, but I would say this is another bit, right? I've got to write this down, because these I'll never forget. I'll never remember these. Well, yeah, obviously, my first gig was at Madness. It was in Manchester. I was about 12, 13. Now, this is going back to the haircut, where my mate dared me to get the haircut. He said, yeah, we're going to this weekend. We've got to get it done. So this was the weekend where we were going to see Madness. So my mate's brother, I say he was about 5 years older than him. We badgered him for weeks, just get us a ticket. He was like, no, your mum won't let you go. I said, look, so like, all kids have done this. I'll tell your mum, I'll tell my mum, I'll be staying at your house. You tell your mum you're staying at my house, and we'll get off it. We'll deal with the consequences like when we got back. So yes, we got tickets and went to Manchester. It was the best and most terrifying experience of my life. We're 12, 13-year-old kids, right, on this, sat in the middle of this bus with 40-year-old burly, big bloody skinheads. They were a frightening bloody bunch when you're 12, and there's bottles of beer thrown everywhere. And by the time when we were pissed wet through, by the time we might as well just had a bath in beer before we came out. There was drugs going through everywhere. But when we got in the venue, it was, I've never seen anything like it, and I'll probably never ever see anything like it again. It was just chaos, but it was a beautiful chaos. I really haven't got the words to justice how good it was. Because like Madness, there were a lot of people. They classed them as a bit of a jolt band.
Yeah.
You got like your baggy trousers and your Our House, etc., etc. But the early back catalogue, they some of the tunes that they put out that didn't make, or they didn't decide it for whatever reason, basically like album fillers.
Yeah. Some
of them, the album fillers, they're far better than the hits that they put up even. So yeah, that was my first gig. Yeah, we got home about 2 o'clock in the morning. Tried to sneak in the house. Mum caught me. Yeah, that was another month grounded. So I had about 2 months grounded on. But it was well worth it. Well worth it. Yeah, it was an amazing night.
Sounds like a great gig and a great time to be alive as a 12-year-old at a Madness gig. So that is a bit...
Yeah, and another one, I've got to throw another Madness gig in there, because this is another one. When they reformed, they split up for a little bit, and they reformed back in 92, and one of the comeback concerts was in Finsbury Park in London. There was like 30-odd thousand Madness fans there, and it's the first concert to be ever registered on the Richter scale. Richter scale? What the fuck's that? Richter, that sounds weird. That sounds like some medical exam. Yeah, the Richter scale is something like 4.9. I don't even know like Finsbury Park. It was the first time I'd ever been there, but all around, it's just this massive area, but all around you've got like high-rise flats, and there was people going, so generally thought they were having an earthquake. There's pictures and shit falling off the wall and everything, like 30,000 Madness fans just bouncing around. So yeah, that was a bit of a claim to fame up. So yeah, it was that concert that made people think we're having an earthquake. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. So like I said, at the top of the podcast, our aim is to get Scott, he gets to play his fantasy festival. So Scott gets to choose any 5 acts, one of whom must play one of their studio albums in full. And Scott also gets to pick an encore, which all 5 acts will perform together at the end of his fantasy festival. So it's all very simple for any first-time listeners. 5 acts take 5 time slots. So in the last episode of the Fantastival Podcast, which probably isn't the right example to give because this one was a bit mad, I had the height on. They created their Padfest Fantasy Festival, and I let all 3 of them have their own choices. So for their openers, they had Led Zeppelin, Level 42 and Tower of Power.
Super Seconds, they had the Spice Girls, Primus and the Martinez Brothers. Midway Madness, they went for Oasis, Queen and Michael Jackson. Pre-headliners had Jimi Hendrix, Gary Newman and Charlotte DeWitt. And their headliners, they had the Smiths, The Heights, which is a very bold choice, and Michael Beebe. And for their encore, they had Nowhere, I Want It That Way and Freak Out. So some amazing choices there. Like I said at the top of the pod, a really enjoyable podcast. So that's how simple the Fantastival Podcast can be. But before we get to talk about any acts who are going to make it or not make it, Scott, we've got to give your fantasy festival a name, and we've got to give it a venue. So Scott, what are you going to call your fantasy festival?
So this is probably like one of the hardest decisions. I thought, well, my name's Chippy, so I'm going to have something Chippy. But before I give you a name, I'm going to go for my venue first, because then my name will make a little bit more sense. I mean, he's still shit, but it'll make a little bit more sense as to where we're going.
All right, so you know it by now. You can take us anywhere you want to in the world. You can keep us in Blackpool. I mean, there's a few places in Blackpool we could go to. We've never gone to Bloomfield Road, so maybe there. You can take us, doesn't have to be in the UK, anywhere you like, Scott. The world is literally your oyster. So where are you going to take us?
Yeah, I was tempted with the Theatre of Dreams, Bloomfield Road, but nightmares anyway. But I thought, no, I'm going to. I once saw this venue. I've seen a few bands play it, but I got this film. It was called Monty Python Live at the Hollywood Bowl, and I saw that, and I'm just like, wow, this would be amazing. So yeah, we're going over to the Hollywood Bowl.
Great stuff. All right, so we've got our venue, but we still need our name. So what are you going to call it? Because I think you said it attributes a bit to the venue.
Yeah, it's a very tenuous link to the Hollywood Bowl. So it's going to be called a bowl of chips.
That's genius. I love what you've done there. So we've got bowl of chips, fairly straightforward there at the Hollywood Bowl. As you know by now, we only take 5 acts with us, so I'm guessing that means a lot are going to miss out, Scott. Any that you want to give a mention to of acts you love but just aren't making it into your final 5?
Yeah, well, I'm sure this will come as quite a surprise to people listening, but Madness haven't made it. I was quite. I was torn between 2 of my big ska two-tone acts, and I'm like, well, yeah, I've seen Madness about 90 million times. Even though, they've missed out. Another act I mentioned earlier, which I absolutely love, System of a Down. They just missed out. I'm going to put my tin up on for this one, because I don't give a shit what anybody says. I almost put James Blunt in there. And for all you haters, piss off, he's ace. I love him. And he's funny as hell as well on Twitter. If you don't follow him on Twitter, follow him, because he gets a lot of shit on there. But it just gives it all back. He doesn't care. He knows people don't like a lot of people don't like his music, and he doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, I'm a multi-millionaire living life for Riley. Yeah. You're sitting in your boxes in your mum's house, right, slagging me off on Twitter. Yeah, who's laughing, mate? So yeah, they're just like, I could go on. There's so many that didn't make it. Elbow, they're another. I love Elbow. Again, they were very, very close. But yeah, I'm not going to waffle on too much, because you'll be sat there writing for ages, mate. You'll have to get a whole pad out.
So it's a big act not making it. Like you said, Madness, who seem like they've been a pivotal act in your life, will have to wait another day to get into a fantasy festival list, as will James Blunt and as will Elbow, System of a Down. All right, then, so 2 o'clock at the Hollywood Bowl, Scott. Time for your opening act to take the stage. So who's going to open Bowl of Chips?
Okay, so the first act. So I was on opening hour, and I thought, I've always wanted this person in, but I thought, do I put them in a little bit later? So a little bit chilled. Or I thought, do I have a nice little chilled start? Just ease everybody in, and get the beers in, and chill out, get the little favourite spots. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to start off nice and gentle. So I'm kicking off with Prince Buster. It's going to be my opening act. I saw you laughing there. What are you laughing at?
Just the way you said nice and chilled. And we're going in for Prince Buster. Obviously, there's a bit of a nod to Madness there with Prince Buster, I think.
Oh, yeah, huge. Yeah, massive. They say that there is no kind of like derivative or a particular person who started like the ska and two-tone scene. But if you ask a lot of people, Prince Buster was massive in the like Jamaican ska and the rocksteady scene. So a lot of people say if it wasn't for him, there would be no ska. There will be no two-tone. So yeah, for me, it'd have been amazing. 'Cause a lot of his songs that he made, especially like Madness and the other band I'm not going to mention yet, they covered like quite a few of their tracks. And there was obviously like Madness. They brought a tune out called Prince Buster, which was a huge nod to well, it wasn't called Prince Buster, it was called The Prince. Yeah. But yeah, it was a huge nod to Prince Buster. And yeah, there was quite a few tunes, one step beyond Prince Buster did first. The song called Madness, which obviously Madness covered, Prince Buster did. So yeah, it was a huge influence on the Jamaica. And again, going back to like my friend's record shop on the very early days, Prince Buster was one of the guys that my mate's dad played to us. And I was like, didn't really, like I could say, as a young kid, I wasn't that bothered. I wanted to just jump around to Madness, etc., etc. But yeah, as the years have gone by, I've come to appreciate kind of like the origins of ska and two-tone. Like I say, with Prince Buster, Jimmy Cliff. Jimmy Cliff is a massive. I mean, nobody's really listened to Jimmy Cliff. Yeah, it's ska, but it's more a chilled, relaxed ska. If you will, it's like reggae ska. So some people call it, but yeah. So Prince Buster, nice and chilled, get people in the mood just before they get the dancing shoes on in a bit.
Good shout. So Prince Buster makes a Fantastival debut for Prince Buster, believe it or not. First Fantasy Festival lineup for them. So they're going to play from 2 till 3 o'clock. We'll take half hour break. It'll be time for your Super Seconds act, Scott. So who are you going to have in your Super Seconds act?
Right, Super Seconds act. So now we're going to turn it up a little bit now. We've had a nice little bit of a chilled start. We just want people to go nuts now. So for my second act, we're having Go-Go Bordello.
All right, okay, Go-Go Bordello. Again, I think that's the first time they've been chosen for a fantasy festival, Scott. So tell us more about your decision to put them in as your Super Seconds act.
These are a band that were played to me a few years ago. Me and my brother and a few of our mates, we used to go camping quite a lot. I say camping. One of the lads, he was a scout leader, so he'd be able to hire out all these scout huts all around the country. But we used to go to Carmel races quite a lot. They got a scout hut right in the middle. So yeah, so we basically just drink all weekend. And we just wanted to have this drinking game like one of the. The aim was to try and play the most obscure music that people didn't know. So one of the lads, they played Start Wearing Purple. And I was like, obviously I'd had a few beers by this time. I was like, it kind of starts off so dun, 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 and I was like, okay, what's this? And it just whacks you in the face. Hey, I was jumping up around like a lunatic. I absolutely loved it. It's probably one of the few things that I remember from that weekend. That was a very blurry weekend, but I remember this band Go-Go Bordello. So yeah, when I got home, I checked them out and I'm like, these are actually really, really good. Again, there's something that surprised me. I didn't think I'd like them because they're very punky, but there's also like a bit of, I think they call it like Romany gypsy music, like with a bit of punk and a bit of, they got a bit of everything in it, man. Yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, I wrote the album now because I bloody forget shit. I'm on the wrong piece of paper. So yeah, that's it. Gypsy Punk's Underdog World Strike. Listen to that album if anybody's listening to it. They want a little bit, and they haven't listened to them yet. Check out that album. It's effing brilliant. I'm not going to swear too much. If I throw an effing in there, it's all right.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, right. Absolutely love it.
Great shout. First time never been picked as well. So we're 2 for 2 so far. Wow. You're opening 2 acts. So Go-Go Bordello going to play from 3:30 to 4:30. Take another half-hour break. Then it'll be time for our midway madness act. So 2 down, 3 to go. Scott, who's going to be your midway madness act?
Well, this was either going to be Madness or it's the Specials. The Specials are my third act.
So how, I guess, and why are the Specials pipping Madness? And I guess what do the Specials mean to you to be your midway madness act?
Again, going back to, I enjoyed the music of the Specials. Obviously, there were a lot more. There was a bit of a deeper meaning. I felt when I first started listening to the Specials. Not when I first listened, but later on when I really got into. Again, like when I started, like Prince Buster, looking into. I started delving a little bit into the Specials and why they started their music and what they were about. It really, I don't know. It really struck a chord with me. Because obviously, when they formed, there was a movement. I think it was called something like Rock Against Racism or something. Yeah. It was something like that. It might have been called that. So there was this big thing that was, and they were touring up and down the country. They do like gigs, and basically it's to try and educate the youth. You know, they said it doesn't matter if you're black or if it's white, just love each other. And then, so with that in mind, it was very in the forefront of Mr. Dharma's mind when they made the Specials, when they formed the Specials, rather, that they wanted it to be a very inclusive band. And I'm not sure this is 100% true, but I'm led to believe that they're the first band in the country to have black and white members. And obviously, like the Two-Tone record label was made. That was made in like 79. And yeah, it really struck a chord with me. The whole, yeah, it was the whole. I'm trying to find the right words like, to do it justice. But it was just like the whole movement. It wasn't just a band that were playing music. They had a purpose. You know, they had a real message behind the music. They had a real message behind the movement. And I really wanted. I mean, I probably even then. I mean, I was telling everybody when I first started listening properly to the Special. I was telling everybody, you know, because it was that scene as well, like early 80s, mid 80s. You know, the skinheads were frowned upon, you know. But in my circle of friends of skinheads, they were just like the nicest people. Like stick them on the stage on a Saturday night when Madness or whatever were playing, man, they go fucking mental. You know, but outside of that, they were just like the nicest people, not a racist bone in the body. So yeah, it kind of like battered my head a little bit. I was like, is this shit really real? Is this? Because I didn't really have a lot of black friends going on. There was nobody on our estate really. There was one kid who got bullied a bit. He was on the other side, so I didn't really speak to him that much. But yeah, I couldn't get my head around the whole racism thing. It's still to this day, it's like, I mean, what are we, 2023 now? And it's like, fuck it, we're not over this shit yet. Yeah. There's enough crap going on in the world about worrying about what colour somebody's skin is. Listen to some music, have a beer, or a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do. Just chill out. Let's just get on. There's enough crap going on. So yeah, that's the Specials. Yeah, huge influence on my teenage years.
Great shout there, Scott. The Specials, looking at my little sheet that I have in front of me, I don't think the Specials have ever been picked for Fantasy Festival. They've been spoken about a lot on the pods. And obviously I had Matt McManaman on, who played lead guitar for them for a while, and Leslie Watson had mentioned them and put on a bit of a dance craze medley. But in terms of ever being selected as a standalone for a Fantasy Festival, I do believe the Specials are making their Fantasy Festival debut. So, Scott, you're 3 for 3,
wow.
Unbelievably. So, great choice there. So, Specials, Midway Madness from 5 till 6.
Just say, like, the people that have gone before them never picked the Specials before. Give your head a wobble. That's all I'll say on that matter.
Fair play.
I'm shocked at that.
Me too.
You had somebody on the other week, I can't remember who it was. They picked Madness, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I think, did you say Madness only been picked about 2 or 3 times?
Madness has been picked 3 times and stuff, but Madness and the Specials do get spoken about quite a lot, especially around like the missed acts feature. And all 3 times Madness has been picked, they've been picked as an opening act. Never gone further than the first hour of a Fantasy Festival. So yeah, they'll have to wait another day, and the Specials obviously take your Midway Madness slot. So great choice. Yep. 3 acts down, 2 left. So your next act are going to be your pre-headliners. We're going to get an hour and a half, play from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. So Scott, who's going to be your pre-headline act?
Now it's party time. We're going to have we're going to have everybody on the feet, right? And we're just going to go mental. So you've seen Rocky 4?
Yes, many times.
So, yes, you know, don't get me started on Rocky because we'll be here for another 3 hours because it's just like my favourite thing ever. So I'm going to introduce this guy the way we introduced Apollo Creed. You know, like when right at the beginning when the jargon sort of like the Master of Destruction, what they call him, the Count of Monte Fisto, and
I think he's the Master of Disaster. The
I
know him all. The King of Sting.
Yeah, that's all. There was loads of them. So anyway, this guy's nicknames. So there's a bloke coming on the microphone now. He's giving it all this. So this is the hardest working man in show business, Mr. Dynamite, Soul Brother #1. And he is the godfather of soul. It's Mr. James Brown.
Great shout.
Let's have a party. Let's have it.
Great shout. Why James Brown for you then, Scott? Why is he going to be your pre-headliner?
Again, soul, and in particular like Northern soul. Again, that's always been another part of my music love. So I always wanted to incorporate a song, and I thought, I don't like Stevie Wonder's being picked, and I nearly did pick Stevie Wonder. Well, then, weirdly, I was watching Rocky 4 again for about the 9 millionth time the other week, and I saw James Brown coming in, we're doing it, living in a barricade, giving it all that, he's all a raspberry house. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want some of that. That was amazing. We're over at the Hollywood Bowl. Like, the Americans will love it. They'll all be whooping and cheering away. The Brits over there, they'll be throwing like the pots of beer everywhere. And they're like, yeah, let's go nuts. But yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything to describe James Brown because everybody knows who James Brown is. Everybody knows. You might not know all of his music. I mean, he's been going like over 50 years, hasn't he? I mean, it was going right up. I think it was 2006, I think he died. And it was literally up to the day he died, right? He was still performing. But it's just, and I found out this really cool, I don't know if it's a fact, but I thought I'll have a little bit of a research, see if I can find like a funny little thing about James Brown. But the best thing that I found, it's on Wikipedia. So it gives you all like, so he's had like over 70 albums, which is madness. 70 albums, over like 144 singles, I think it was. And then underneath it says children. Between 9 and 13. I thought, yeah, I'm having that. That's how do you not know he's got between 9 and 13? To be honest, he's probably double that. Probably. James Brown, I would imagine. But yeah, again, right, it's his music. People might not think, oh, James Brown. I don't really know much of his stuff, but he'll be one of those artists that they'll play songs and go, oh shit, yeah, I know this one. I remember this one. Yeah, I just think it'd be like just a crazy party atmosphere. So yeah, James Brown locked in.
Great shout. Great shout.
Yeah.
It's not James Brown's first dalliance with the Fantasy Festival. 5th time James Brown has been picked, so great choice there.
Only the 5th time? I'm surprised with that.
5th time, and again, he's never been on before a Midway Madness slot, so he's been headliner twice, pre-headline act now twice, and a Midway Madness. Heavy North picked him as their pre-headline act, and the first time
yes,
they came on. So great shout there. So James Brown plays from 6:30 to 8. He'll get the crowd on their feet for sure. We'll take one more half-hour break, and then your headliners will play from 8:30 to 11 o'clock. Now, I've got normally I have an idea of where the headliners are going, but I've got no idea where you're taking us with this one. I can't work it out at all. I think you've got a good mix, an eclectic mix again of fantasy festivals, and there's no one you've spoken about who I'm thinking I can see this one coming. So, Scott, time for you to share who your headliners are going to be. So, who's going to headline Bowl of Chips?
For a lot of people that listen to this, they'll know exactly who I'm picking. But this is the band that I kind of almost spilt the beans on right at the very beginning. It's a band that I first listened to in '86. I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat. Some people will call it cheating. Personally, I don't call it cheating. I'll let you be the judge of it when I. So my headliners, it's my own Fab Four, and it's Paul, Norman, Stan, and Hugh. And it's the House Martins.
Great shout. All right. First time, again, I believe...
What is up with you people that are doing these things? What?
Yeah.
Get away.
First time ever. The House Martins are coming down for a fantasy.
Damn. So yeah, they're also going to be doing playing the album in full. London Nil, Hull 4. It's still today my all-time favourite album. It's just... Yeah, again, that was the band from when I first heard the album in '86. My mate bought the album. He's like, "Oh, I've got this new band for you. Who are they?" I'm like, "Well, are they ska?" I'm like, "No, I'm not really asked about them." Anyway, he started playing Happy Hour, and I was like, "It was one of those. What's this?" Again, it's like the first time that I heard Madness and One Step Beyond. It was that moment again, and just like, wow. And yeah, since then, I've been massive fan of everything Paul Heaton has done. Probably can say I'm a bit of a fanboy of his. But not a bit. I'm a huge fanboy. You ask the missus. If I could, I'd leave her for him. Can we edit that bit out?
Yeah, you can edit that bit out.
Actually, she probably should bring it down there. She's probably heard. But yeah, so they're going to be playing like London Nil, Hull 4. So how long do you say this is? You've got 2 hours.
You got 2.5 hours, but we can always.
2.5 hours. So the other like little split bit. So the numbers are going to go off. Norman Cookie's going to crack on. He's got a gig doing his Fat Boy Slim somewhere. So then he's going to leave Paul Heaton on stage, and Jackie Abbott is going to come out and join him to do some beautiful soundtracks and obviously some of their new stuff.
That's allowed. So, yeah. That's fine. That's allowed. Yeah, that's allowed. That's not a problem.
Thank you, mate.
That's all good.
We'll have that then. So yeah, Paul Heaton, Jackie Abbott, the House Martins, my numero unos. Like I say, I've just been I didn't get to see the House Martins when they were first. Well, when they were only on for a couple of years. And obviously then Paul went off with Dave Hemingway formed the Beautiful South. Because again, I follow them. I got to see them a couple of times live. Absolutely amazing. And obviously Jackie Abbott was the last female singer to join the band when they split. I think it was about 2010, 2011. I'm not sure how it became, but Paul was doing I think it was a musical of some description. I can't remember what. But yeah, so he asked Jackie to come and like sing on this musical, and they got chatting. And it was like, well, I'd be fancy like doing some music together. And so yeah, the first album was born. What Have We Become? Yeah, and they've been pretty successful since. Got to see them a couple of times. And still, it's just magic. I can't. Again, sometimes I do get lost for words, but yeah, I can't do those justice with my words. I really can't. It's just. I mean, you can see my face. I'm just sat here, and I'm like, I can't find the words of how fucking much I love these guys. Again, because like the music is quite, especially like their early days, the House Martin, they were very open with like the political views in their in the music. And again, that was something that resonated with me, because they were like, it was almost like my punk, if you will, because punk was very like political and very edgy. And I've got this guy singing about, how against like the royalty, and like some of the subjects that they've sung about. Again, like they sang a song about some woman being buried in a wall. And I first time I heard it, I got my head a little bopping around. I was like, yeah, especially for the woman. And it's just some woman buried in a wall. And they're singing about it. And I'm like, yeah, it's fucking great, this. So they're not, again, they broach all sorts of subjects. But yeah, again, the whole ethos behind him. And I just think he's just like the most genuine guy. I mean, he keeps his prices down as low as possible for all these gigs. There's been many, many times where he's put posts on Twitter and Facebook. Right, we've got a gig such and such a place, right? X amount of pubs, right? He's left some money behind the bar so people can go and have a drink on him before the gig. Who does that? I don't know any other artist that does that. Yeah. So House Martins, Beautiful South. Okay, it's technically not Beautiful South, but House Martins, Paul Eaton, Jackie Abbott.
You can put the Beautiful South in there as well if you want to do a triple header. Not a problem.
I'd say Jackie and Paul, they'll do the Beautiful South stuff anyway.
Yeah. All right. Great shout. So House Martins and Paul Eaton, Jackie Abbott, your headline act, are going to give us 2.5 hours. Then at 11 o'clock, they're going to bring back on stage James Brown, the Specials, Go-Go Bordello, and Prince Buster, and they all get to play one song together. So I'm quite aware this is probably quite a hard decision, given the wealth of talent on your stage. But what song are you going to have them all play to close your fantasy festival, Scott?
So originally, I was going to have, I wanted quite something like uplifting, something like, like the crowd would know and join in with. So originally, I was going to have Elbow, One Day Like This. Originally, it's one of my favourite songs ever. I just find it's really, really, really uplifting. And I thought, hang on a minute, you got Prince Buster here, and you got the Specials, obviously Prince Buster and the Specials, they both had a tune, and it's called Enjoy Yourself, which was Prince Buster's originally. Obviously, the Specials have covered it. So it's Enjoy Yourself is my encore, please.
That is fine. So Enjoy Yourself is your encore. All 5 acts of your fantasy lineup will perform that together as that brings your fantasy festival to a close. So let's lock it in before any minds get changed. So we have Bowl of Chips taking place at the Hollywood Bowl. Opening act, we've got Prince Buster. Super Seconds, we've got Go-Go Bordello. Midway Madness, we've got the Specials. Pre-headline act, we've got James Brown. And your headliners, we've got House Martins, who are going to play London Nil Hole 4, and also a set by Paul Eaton and Jackie Abbott. Scott, sounds like a fantastic fantasy festival to me. You happy to lock that one into the Fantastival vaults?
More than happy. Perfect. Let's get the flyers made.
Let's do it. I'll be out next week, the flyers, obviously, as we always do on the podcast. So I guess, Scott, before we bring this one to a close, what does the future hold for you? What gigs you got coming up? What kind of plans around the writing and bringing back the show? What are your plans?
Gigs wise at the moment are a bit difficult. I'll touch on a little bit. I'll cut a very, very long story, very, very short. So I think we've been waffling on for about 4 days or something here, haven't we? So at the April-ish last year, I became quite ill. I had a mini stroke, and then about 6 months later, I was diagnosed with not one but 2 times of epilepsy. So I've had to quit work. And so we've literally gone from literally gigging like every other weekend, and we've both been living fairly comfortably to, obviously I'm not working now, and what the government give you is peanuts. But again, I'm definitely not jumping on me so much about that. So yeah, so gigs got to be a bit picky. We should be travelling all over the place. So now I can't particularly travel very far, obviously because of if I have a fit somewhere, because they're not quite still sure if they've got the right blend of meds. Because we lost a lot of money on gigs. We buy all these gigs and I'd be ill, I'd have a seizure so we've got to be a little bit picky and choosy. And just while I'm not mentioning any of that for any form of sympathy, but if people want to give me sympathy, please, I'm all for sympathy and adulation. Let's have it. But no, again, the music Twitter community, it's not just about the music.
Yeah,
honestly, I mean this wholeheartedly when I say they're some of the most genuine people I've yet to meet anybody off there that I thought, oh, you're a bit of a dickhead. It's probably different for me. Probably people that met me and he's a bit of a knobhead.
If you don't think anyone else is the dickhead, then you're the dickhead, right?
Exactly that, mate. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, when I didn't want it to be publicly known, but obviously there's a lot of people that do know about it now. And there were just people messaging me constantly all the time, asking how I was. I had people sending me gifts. I had bands gigs we planned to go to say, look, next time we're in your area, we put, come along, we'll stick you on the guest list. You don't have to pay for your ticket. I say other people, some people I've never even spoke to on Twitter, messaging me saying, look, we know you're having a hard time at the moment and things are tight financially. Have you got this album by such and such? And I was like, if I have, no. I was like, right, but I want to get it, yeah. And I'll say no to a lot of them, but they'll go to somebody else who knows me, who's got my address, and then I'll have these albums and shit turning up in the post, and they're just the most amazing bunch. So yeah, so gigs are a bit few and far between, but fingers crossed and touch wood. We've got the Kairos at Bootleg next month. But other than that, there's not much else planned. Oh yeah, and I will just going back onto that. If you're on, it doesn't matter if you're on Twitter or somebody in your life you've not heard of, you've not spoke to before. If you take anything from me waffling on for the last God knows how long, if there is somebody in your life or there's somebody on Twitter you've not seen for a while, or send him a message. I'm telling you now, it means, I can feel myself getting quite emotional about this.
It
really meant a lot to me. It means a lot when you think you're having a really, really shit time and somebody just messages you out of the blue, saying, oh, how are you, mate? I hope you're doing all right. It means the world. So yeah, be that person. Send your mate a text you've not spoke to for a while, or yeah.
Nicely said, Scott. Before we roll out on this one, I'm sure most people do follow you, but if anyone's on Twitter and doesn't follow you, you can be found on Twitter. You can be found at Chippytea, right? As in
Chippytea, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's right. I don't really. I do have Insta, but I don't know how to bloody use it. So I just like. It's like when I first joined Twitter, I remember joining up and was like, "Fucking how do you use this?" I left it for about 8-9 years. Lockdown arrived. I thought, let's give Twitter a go, and then that's what became into the whole new music Twitter mob.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm on Facebook, but again, I don't really use Facebook that often. I normally use Facebook for people I don't like. I'm joking, by the way, but anyway, it's on my Facebook page.
He's joking. So yeah, make sure you go and give Scott a follow. He gives great music recommendations and a great Twitter account to interact with. So that is it, everyone. Thank you for listening to the 145th episode of the Fantastival Podcast. If you've enjoyed this one, please subscribe, give the Fantastival Podcast a review. You can do that on iTunes. You can also rate the show on Spotify. And you can also comment on the episode. And don't forget to recommend this to all your family and friends. As well as Scott is on Twitter, so is the podcast. Give us a follow at FantastivalP. You can also email the pod at fantastivalpodcast@outlook.com. Unfortunately, on this podcast, we don't play music, but I'll get some tracks from Scott. We'll make a nice sort of Spotify playlist. So if you scroll down on your episode description, you'll be able to find a nice little link to a playlist there, and you'll find some of the acts that we have spoken about on this one. So Scott, it's been an honour to host you on the podcast. Thank you for all
mate.
your support.
It's been an absolute privilege to be on. Loved it.
Oh mate, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Maybe, hopefully one day I'll get to meet you in person. hopefully.
Yeah, maybe at the old footy. When we give your boys a spanking, we'll come and have a beer. Come and drown your sorrows when we battered you.
Yeah, we'll go to HV Blackpool as well and check out what's going on in the world of HMV. So that is it, everyone. Like I said, I'll be back next week with episode number 146. So please make sure to join me. But until then, stay safe, my Fantastival friends. Please continue to spread the word, and that word is Fantastival. Thanks for listening.